They say revenge is a dish best served cold. In my case, it came with a hefty price tag and a side of humble pie. I'm Emma Sullivan, though my Uncle James always called me Emmy, while the rest of my family saw me as the black sheep who chose culinary school over a real career. Uncle James understood my passion for food and restaurants. He was the one who taught me that a great restaurant isn't just about the food, it's about creating experiences. Uncle James had built the Sullivan Steakhouse chain from a single diner into an empire of 30 high-end restaurants across the country. My cousins Brad and Melissa grew up expecting to inherit it all, spending more time bragging about the family business than learning how to run it. "Emmy's just a line cook," Brad would sneer whenever I visited Uncle James at the flagship restaurant. "She'll never understand the business side of things." What they didn't know was that I spent every free moment learning from Uncle James. While they were partying on Daddy's credit cards, I was studying inventory management, profit margins, and customer psychology. Uncle James taught me everything, not just about cooking, but about running a successful restaurant empire. "Watch and learn, Emmy," he'd say, showing me how he handled suppliers, managed staff, and kept the books. Success in this business isn't just about the food, it's about understanding people. The last time I saw him alive, he seemed worried about the future of his restaurants. "The family thinks running these places is easy," he said, looking tired. "They don't understand what it takes." 2 months later, Uncle James passed away unexpectedly. The family gathered at his mansion for the reading of the will, everyone dressed in expensive black outfits and false grief. I wore my chef's jacket, it seemed more appropriate somehow. Brad and Melissa could barely contain their excitement. They'd already been planning changes, talking about turning the high-end steakhouses into trendy fusion restaurants. "We'll make this place actually cool," Melissa had declared at the funeral reception, picking at the canapes I'd prepared. "None of this old-fashioned stuff." The family lawyer, Mr. Patterson, began reading the will. Uncle James had been very specific about his wishes. The mansion went to his sister, my Aunt Catherine, his cars to various family members, his art collection to museums. Finally, we got to the restaurants. And finally, my restaurant chain, Sullivan Steakhouse, including all 30 locations, assets, and associated properties, I leave to my niece, Emma Sullivan. The room erupted in chaos. Brad jumped to his feet, face red with anger. "This has to be a mistake. She's just a cook." Melissa burst into tears. "She doesn't know anything about business. She'll ruin everything." Aunt Catherine, their mother, turned to Mr. Patterson. "There must be some mistake. James always meant for the restaurants to stay in the direct family line." "Actually, Mr. Patterson said calmly, James was very clear about his choice. He left this letter explaining his decision." He pulled out an envelope and began reading Uncle James's words. "To my family, I know my decision may seem surprising to some of you, but while you were all busy planning how to spend the profits from my life's work, only Emmy showed real interest in learning how to run it. She understands that a restaurant is more than just a business, it's a place where memories are made, where celebrations become special, where food brings people together. She has both the skills and the heart to carry on my legacy." I sat quietly, tears in my eyes, as the letter continued. Uncle James had been preparing me for this for years, teaching me everything I needed to know. All those hours in the kitchen, all those late-night lessons about business, it had all been leading to this moment. But my family wasn't done fighting. Brad stepped forward, trying to look reasonable. "Look, Emmy," he said, using my childhood nickname for the first time in years, "let's be practical. You're a chef, a good one, sure, but running 30 restaurants? That's different. Why don't you let us buy you out? We'll give you a fair price." I thought about Uncle James, about all he'd taught me. "No," I said simply. "Uncle James wanted me to run the restaurants, so that's what I'm going to do." "Huh," Melissa laughed. "What does she know about running restaurants? She'll bankrupt us within a year." That's when I noticed something interesting about the stack of papers Mr. Patterson was holding. "Are those the special family membership cards?" I asked. He nodded. "Yes, part of the inheritance includes deciding how to handle the existing family benefits program." Ah, the family benefits program, one of my cousin's favorite perks. They'd been using their special cards to eat for free at any Sullivan's restaurant, often bringing large groups of friends along. Uncle James had maintained the program to keep peace in the family, but he'd confided in me how much it cost the business each year. "I'll need those," I said, reaching for the cards. "I have some changes to make." Over the next week, while my family was still reeling from the inheritance surprise, I got to work. I visited each restaurant, meeting with the staff, reviewing the books, and learning the specific challenges each location faced. Uncle James had taught me well. I already knew most of the managers and chefs, and they respected me as someone who understood both the kitchen and the business. Then I implemented my first major change, the family benefits program. New cards were issued to all family members with a significant modification. Instead of free meals, they would now be charged a 50% premium above regular menu prices. The response was immediate and explosive. My phone started ringing nonstop with angry relatives. "This is outrageous," Aunt Catherine screeched. "James would never have wanted this." "Actually," I replied calmly, "Uncle James kept detailed records of how much the family benefit program was costing the business. Last year alone, you and your children cost the restaurants over $300,000 in free meals and special treatments." That number silenced her for a moment. But we're family," she spluttered. "Yes, we are, and family should want the business to succeed, not drain its resources. The premium will help offset the costs of upgrading our kitchens and implementing new training programs." Brad and Melissa tried a different approach. They started bringing their friends to the restaurants, planning to make scenes and drive away customers. But I was ready for that too. I'd installed new security systems and implemented a strict policy. Any deliberately disruptive behavior would result in permanent banning from all Sullivan's locations. After Brad and his friends got escorted out of our flagship restaurant by security, word spread quickly through the family that I wasn't going to be pushed around. But I wasn't just playing defense. I had plans to make the restaurants even better. Using everything Uncle James had taught me, I modernized our operations while keeping the core values that made Sullivan special. We upgraded our inventory management system, reducing waste and improving profit margins. I implemented a new training program for all staff, from dishwashers to managers, ensuring everyone understood both their role and the bigger picture. We refreshed the menus, keeping the classic steakhouse favorites while adding some carefully chosen new options. The results started showing quickly. Without the drain of constant free meals, our profits increased. The improved training led to better service, which meant more repeat customers. Our reputation grew stronger than ever. 6 months after taking over, I invited the entire family to a special dinner at the flagship restaurant. Many of them hadn't been back since the premium pricing went into effect. They'd been boycotting the restaurants in protest. "Your usual tables are ready," I told them, "and yes, the family premium still applies." They grumbled but sat down. I had instructed the staff to provide our absolute best service, and the kitchen was prepared to show off everything we'd achieved in the past months. Course after course arrived, perfectly cooked steaks, innovative sides, decadent desserts. I'd personally designed the menu to showcase both our traditional excellence and our new capabilities. Even my most bitter relatives couldn't hide their appreciation for the food. As coffee was being served, I stood up to address the family. "I know many of you thought I would fail," I began. "You thought being a chef wasn't enough to run this business. But Uncle James taught me that being a great restaurant owner means understanding both the kitchen and the business. Let me show you what we've achieved in 6 months." I distributed reports showing our improved profits, customer satisfaction scores, and growth projections. The numbers were impressive. We were doing better than ever. "The premium you're paying for your meals? That money is being invested back into the business. We've upgraded 5 kitchens, sent 3 promising young chefs to advanced training, and opened 2 new locations. We're not just maintaining Uncle James's legacy, we're building on it." Brad, who'd been studying the numbers with a shocked expression, finally spoke up. "But how? These profits are better than when Dad was running things." "Because I actually learned the business," I said simply, "every part of it, from the kitchen to the accounting office, just like Uncle James taught me." Melissa, who had been unusually quiet, suddenly burst out, "We were wrong about you, Emmy. You really do know what you're doing." It was the first time she'd called me Emmy in years. The atmosphere in the room shifted. For the first time, my family was seeing me not as the black sheep who chose cooking over a real career, but as a capable business owner worthy of Uncle James's trust. Aunt Catherine cleared her throat. "The food tonight, it's the best I've ever had at Sullivan's. And these numbers," she paused, seeming to struggle with what she wanted to say. "James knew what he was doing when he chose you." It wasn't quite an apology, but it was something. That night marked a turning point. While not everyone was happy with me, they couldn't deny the success I was achieving. The premium pricing stayed. I wasn't running a charity, after all, but I did implement a new family program. Any relative who wanted to learn the business, really learn it from the ground up, would be given the opportunity. To everyone's surprise, Melissa took me up on the offer. She started in the kitchen, just like I had, learning every aspect of the restaurant business. Turns out, once she got past her entitlement, she actually had a good head for operations management. Brad tried to sue for a while, claiming Uncle James wasn't of sound mind when he made his will, but Mr. Patterson had extensive documentation of James's decision-making process, including videos of him explaining his choice. The case was dismissed. A year after taking over, Sullivan's Steakhouse was thriving. We'd opened 5 new locations, earned several prestigious restaurant awards, and our profits were at an all-time high. The family premium cards were now seen as a status symbol. Yes, you paid more, but you also got special treatment and access to exclusive events. Uncle James would have been proud, not just of the business success, but of how his decision ultimately brought positive changes to the family. Those who were willing to learn and work hard found opportunities within the company. Those who weren't, well, they could still enjoy our excellent food, at a premium. I keep Uncle James's picture in my office at the flagship restaurant. Sometimes, when I'm working late on the books or testing new recipes in the kitchen, I can almost hear him saying, "Watch and learn, Emmy. Success in this business isn't just about the food, it's about understanding people." He was right, of course, understanding people, their motivations, their capabilities, their potential for both good and bad. That's what makes a business successful. And sometimes, understanding people means knowing when to charge them extra for their steak. The story of how I inherited Sullivan's Steakhouse became something of a legend in the restaurant industry. People love hearing about the chef who outmaneuvered her entitled relatives by charging them more instead of letting them eat for free. But the real story isn't about revenge, it's about respect. Respect for the business, respect for the craft, and respect for Uncle James's legacy. Today, Sullivan's Steakhouse is bigger than ever. With 45 locations across the country, we're known not just for our excellent steaks, but for our commitment to quality and service. Every new employee hears the story of Uncle James, who built this business from nothing, and about the importance of understanding both the kitchen and the business side of restaurants. Melissa is now our Director of Operations, running the day-to-day business while I focus on strategic growth and maintaining our high standards. She's proven herself more than capable, once she stopped expecting everything to be handed to her. Brad, well, he still complains about the premium pricing, but he pays it. His kids, interestingly enough, have shown a genuine interest in the restaurant business. 2 of them are currently working their way up through our training program, learning the business the right way, from the ground up. Aunt Catherine eventually came around too. She still gets charged the family premium, but now she brags about how her niece turned the family business into an even bigger success. I suspect she's more proud of the premium pricing than she admits. It's become a status symbol in her social circle. The family benefit cards, with their distinctive gold trim and hefty premium, have become coveted items in certain circles. People actually ask to pay more now, wanting to be part of the exclusive program. Uncle James would have laughed at the irony. But the best part? Every year, on the anniversary of Uncle James's passing, we host a special dinner at the flagship restaurant. The whole family attends, paying full premium prices. To celebrate his legacy, we serve his favorite dishes, share stories about him, and raise a glass to the man who knew that sometimes the best person for the job isn't the most obvious choice. And me? I still put on my chef's jacket and work in the kitchen sometimes, creating new dishes and training new chefs, because no matter how big the business gets, at its heart, Sullivan's Steakhouse is still about creating experiences and bringing people together over great food. Just like Uncle James taught me,